This is TCT's Daily Major. I am Brian Dabrio, and these are your headlines. A press conference on a joint CDB-ECCB report on St. Lucia was held this Thursday. Dion Rikai is the 2016 St. Lucia Spice Scholar. Government House is to be fitted with a solar photovoltaic system, and the U.S. has resumed deportation of undocumented Haitian immigrants. TCT's Daily Major is brought to you by Double A's Bottling Company, Ferrans Food Products, Ramco Chow Mein, and One Caribbean Newspaper.
So nothing will keep us together. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day.
More than a third of our children are now overweight or obese, and some reports indicate this will be the first generation where the children might not outlive their parents. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, and the leading cause of death for African Americans, Hispanics, and whites. 25 million North Americans are diabetic, and roughly 2 million people are diagnosed with diabetes every year. BioSlife, the clinically proven natural fat loss.
For more information or to purchase this product, contact Ramji at telephone 716-1400 or 450-0495 or email ramj35@hotmail.com.
One Caribbean newspaper is dedicated to the unity of our people in one Caribbean nation. We invite you to write us and tell us what's bothering you. No matter what it is, as long as it's within the law and it doesn't offend public conscience, we will publish it. Send us your pictures. Tell us of your weddings. Tell us when, unfortunately, you have deaths, and we will publish the death announcements. One Caribbean is a newspaper dedicated to the unity of the Caribbean. Write to us at onecaribbeanltd@gmail.com or dennisdabro@gmail.com, and we will publish what you write, as long as it is within the law and it doesn't offend public decency.
Welcome. A press conference related to a joint Caribbean Development Bank and Eastern Caribbean Central Bank report on St. Lucia, captioned Fiscal and Structural Reforms in St. Lucia Towards a Comprehensive Agenda, was held this Thursday, September 22, 2016, at the GIS Studios. Dr. Eubaldus Raymond, the Minister in the Ministry of Finance, spoke of what he referred to as government's comprehensive economic agenda for St. Lucia.
Part of that agenda to stimulate economic growth and development involves the commissioning of a report from the CDB in collaboration with the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. These two agencies were also assisted by the staff of the Research and Policy Unit within the Ministry of Finance, the Inland Revenue Department, and the Customs Department. The government of St. Lucia received the Caribbean Development Bank's report titled Fiscal and Structural Reforms in St. Lucia towards a comprehensive agenda. And a presentation was made to the Ministry of Finance yesterday. Before we get to what is contained in the report, I want to put into perspective the rationale behind this document as it pertains to the overall economic vision this new administration has for St. Lucia.
The minister says that the economic plan for St. Lucia proposed by his government hinges on three major policy directions.
1, reducing cost of living. 2, spurring economic growth. And 3, curtailing on the high level of debt. The government's aim is to ensure that we do not place undue burden on public finances and that we address our current debt situation. The CDB report is a guide on the path to achieving those goals. So what does the report tell us? I will leave this, or leave it to Dr. Ram to put into perspective. However, a glaring observation in the report is that notwithstanding the recent improvements in the fiscal performance, without certain adjustments, public finances remain on unsustainable path. The report states in the last decade average growth in the economy of St. Lucia was 0.9%. Over the last 5 years, the performance of St. Lucia's economy has been generally weak, with real outputs averaging negative 0.4%. Provisional estimates for 2015 show growth of 1.2%, and preliminary forecasts for 2016 indicate growth of approximately 1.1%. In the conclusion of the report, the CDB also notes that the initial assessment of the fiscal situation shows that there is tremendous scope for improvement. With respect to the debt situation, the report warns that risks abound and the high concentration, or with the high concentration of short-term debt. As a government, we are still in the process of reviewing this report, and I know the media is eager to know the findings as well.
Dr. Justin Ram is the Director of Economics at the Caribbean Development Bank.
The Caribbean Development Bank, along with Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, was tasked with this project to look at what the fiscal accounts are currently like now in St. Lucia. At this point in time, at the end of 2015, the debt to GDP ratio in St. Lucia, as we had estimated, was around 75% of gross domestic product. So what's the current state of play? Our analysis has shown that notwithstanding a pickup recently in growth, public finances are on an unsustainable path here in St. Lucia. There's also a high average cost of borrowing with respect to government debt, and we have found this to be about 6%, compared to the slow growth of less than 1% in the past 10 years. We have also found that when we look further at the fiscal accounts, that there are inadequate primary balances. And so without the sufficient primary balances, it's very difficult for any government to bring the debt to GDP ratio down to a manageable level. Now we should emphasize here that generally we say that if your debt to GDP ratio is in excess of 60% of gross domestic product, we do believe that that is trending towards an unsustainable debt trajectory. So overall, the result in St. Lucia over the last few years has been a considerable buildup in the debt stock. So that if we project these numbers going forward, and this is to say if there's a business as usual scenario, if there are no mitigating measures put in place, then we see the debt to GDP ratio in St. Lucia by 2030 rising well above 110% of gross domestic product.
Dion Rikai is the 2016 St. Lucia SPICE Student Program for Innovation in Science and Engineering Scholar. He was one of 19 chosen from a field of 48 applicants across the region. His participation in the 4-week regional program held annually at UWI Cave Hill in Barbados was sponsored by the St. Lucia Electricity Services Limited. The 16-year-old graduated from the St. Mary's College this year with grade 1 passes, all A profile in 15 subjects. He is also an avid chess player who captained his SMC chess team to 3 secondary school national chess tournaments in his final 3 years at the school. Lucilec has sponsored one SPICE student from St. Lucia since the program of the Caribbean Science Foundation began in 2011. SPICE is premised on developing core capabilities in science, technical engineering, and mathematics STEM as necessary learning tools because of their implications for economic issues. This year, the students were challenged with classes that included university-level calculus, physics, biochemistry, entrepreneurship, Caribbean Unity, and Maradin, as well as hands-on projects in computer programming, underwater robotics, and renewable energy electronics. SPICE was an amazing experience. The coursework was very intense and challenging, but I also had a lot of fun being around so many interesting people who share a common passion for science. I was exposed to university-level coursework and I learned a lot academically. SPICE also taught me many other life lessons such as how to manage my time better, stay organized, and how to work with a team effectively, says Rikai. The young scholar who wants to be an engineer is currently studying pure mathematics, chemistry, and physics at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, Division of Arts, Science, and General Studies. Government House is being fitted with a solar photovoltaic system through the generosity of Solar Head of State. This system will allow Government House to partially operate on renewable energy, saving the country hundreds of dollars in electricity costs per month. Solar Head of State is a non-profit association formed by a team of solar entrepreneurs from around the world. They aim to create an inspirational solar leadership club that inspires other leaders to follow suit by installing solar energy on their own executive residence and adopting favorable renewable energy policies. Solar Head of State is partnering with local entrepreneurs for this initiative. As a result of this exposure, these local partners will obtain the relevant skills and knowledge that will enhance the capacity in the installation of solar systems. Installation of the system at Government House is in keeping with the country's target to increase generation of renewable energy penetration into the grid by 35% by 2020. Work commenced on Monday, September 19, 2016, with training of the staff that will be charged with the responsibility of maintaining the system. The official launch of the solar PV system will take place at Government House on Friday, September 23, 2016, from 10 a.m. It has been reported that researchers at the University of Florida have identified the Mayaro virus in an 8-year-old boy in Haiti, where it has never been seen. Dr. Sharon George is a senior officer of health attached to the Ministry of Health.
Researchers from Florida have isolated Mayaro virus from a blood sample taken from an 8-year-old boy in Haiti. This is the first time that this virus has been isolated from somebody within the Caribbean region. Just to clarify that the Mayaro virus is a mosquito-borne, self-limited viral illness, which is quite similar to the other mosquito-borne diseases, the other vector-borne diseases such as dengue, chikungunya, and the Zika virus. However, this virus is limited to areas of South America, the forests of South America. It has been isolated in places such as Brazil and Suriname, and more recently, in 2010, it had been isolated in an outbreak in Venezuela. To date, we have not had any, we are not known to have any cases of the Mayaro virus within the Caribbean region. I think this information needs to be taken within context. As we are all aware, there are many vector-borne diseases which are in other parts of the world, be it South America, be it parts of Africa or Asia. However, with global travel and trade, it has become more likely that we may get, because persons travel to certain areas where these diseases are present, it is quite likely that we may get, especially in the initial stages, isolated cases of those viruses. This disease is quite similar to the other vector-borne diseases that we know. The symptoms are quite similar to the dengue fever in terms of the fever, the rash. It's also characteristic to have abdominal pain and joint pain, similar to the chikungunya virus. To date, we have never had any cases within St. Lucia or the rest of the region. I would also like to clear up a statement made by Dr. James Hospitalis from the Caribbean Public Health Agency in terms of dengue fever and the new strain. As we have indicated earlier, dengue fever, we have 4 serotypes or strains of dengue fever. And in past years, we've mainly had serotype 1 and 2 circulating within our population. It is also quite possible that serotypes 3 and 4, we can also see cases here as well. However, in past years, we've not had those cases as much as we've had serotype 1 and 2. And Dr. James Hospitalis was just indicating that it is a possibility that in 2017 or 2018, that we may see cases of serotype 3 within the region.
The Bexar Youth Committee is a community-based group with a desire and mandate to assist members of the community, especially the sick and vulnerable. We value community and recognize that communities are stronger and productive when the majority of its members, especially the youth, work together for a common cause. As a group of concerned youth, we have planned and will be hosting the first annual pageant. The activity will be held on Saturday, October 15, 2016 from 7 p.m. and is dubbed Miss Bexar Youth Pageant 2016 under the theme Ushering a Sense of Creativity and Responsibility in Our Community. Talent from across the Bexar community will be showcased. The pageant is our way of raising funds to assist Mrs. Veronica Matre of Mark, who was diagnosed with a medical condition and is in need of urgent medical assistance. Mrs. Matre is scheduled for this procedure on October 20th, 2016 and has started treatment in preparation for that tough journey. You are watching TCT's Daily Major. Still to come, Echo appoints Jason Skeet as its new agent for Grenada.
Crystal clear, yeah. That's what we drink when I want to quench my thirst, bring a bottle of crystal clear, yeah. It's so refreshing. I don't want no other water. The choice is crystal clear. Cool the temperature, revitalize me with. Give me a bottle of water. All on the road is inside bottles. Everybody's drinking water. Crystal clear, yeah. It's so refreshing. When I want to quench my thirst, bring a bottle of crystal clear.
The choice is clear. Crystal clear. Premium, purified drinking water from Zubule's Bottling Company Limited.
The way you smile at me is everything I dream.
Your Lucelec bill has been redesigned to give you more information. The top portion of your bill contains an invoice number, Lucelec's VAT identification number, and customer address. A past due stamp is displayed if your payment is overdue at the time of billing. Ignore it if you've already made your payment. To the right is a barcode for easy processing of your payments at Lucilex customer service offices only. The billing summary highlights any amounts due from the prior billing, total of all payments made between your last bill and your last payment date, any other charges or credits to your account, any fees for returned checks or reconnection, VAT charges on these fees, the balance brought forward, your current charges for the billing period, the total amount outstanding on your account, and the date by which it should be paid.
Experience the flavor of icy. Icy, yeah. Icy. Pop it up, let's start the party. Ooh, yeah. I like the flavor. Ooh, yeah. I love the taste.
The orange and the pear, the cherry and banana, the apple, ginger beer, or strawberry for your mama. Grapefruit, cola, champagne, sorrel if you wanna. Quench your thirst first, have an icy soda water.
Icy, yeah. Icy. Pop it up, let's start the party. Ooh, yeah. I like the flavor. Ooh, yeah. I love the taste. Icy.
Experience the flavor of icy. Bottled by Dublay's Bottling Company Limited.
Ramco pasta is a master. Your staple of choice because the quality is superior. No gluten, no white flour, 100% semolina. Ramco pasta tastes better, I swear. Ramco pasta forever. When I using mac and cheese, bon. Give me some more, please. Ramco have variety, go Betty to Betty and Fusilini. Ramco, the taste we know. Met you. Now available at all leading outlets. Distributed by Ramco. For more information, call 450-0495.
Thanks for staying with us. The Eastern Caribbean Collective Organization for Music Rights, headquartered in St. Lucia with membership throughout the OECS, has appointed Mr. Jason Skeet as an agent for the territory of Grenada. Public Relations Executive Mr. Skeet, who has a background in music, communication, media management, marketing, promotions, and customer service, will bring his talent as a communicator and his drive, energy, and commitment as a team player to an organization which is making giant strides in the delivery of services to music creators in Grenada and international songwriters for use of their musical works in Grenada. ECHO's Chief Executive Officer Mr. Steve Etienne states, Mr. Skeet joins ECHO at a time when the organization is performing at its most efficient level, having reduced its income-expense ratio from 65% to 45%, while boosting royalty distribution by 86% over the previous year, and is a trend ECHO continues to set as it approaches the final quarter of the year. Mr. Etienne adds for ECHO to continue delivering improved services to its members, agents and head office staff must have the skills to deliver the goals and visions as required by our board. We believe that Mr. Skeet meets the requirements for this post and will be ably supported by ECHO's local director, Mr. Wayne Green. On Wednesday, 21st September 2016, at the Babonneau Community Center, the Ministry of Health and Wellness through the Department of Environmental Health, the Babonneau Community Council, CAFRA, Babonneau Youth Synergy, the Ministry of Infrastructure, in collaboration with the Water and Sewage Company, Inc., embarked on a community partnership program for vector mitigation in the community of Babonneau due to the increasing population of vectors in the community. This comes on the backdrop of the department's launching of Vector Control Awareness Campaign, which commenced on June 22, 2015. Vectors often live in close proximity to humans and can be serious pests under certain conditions. They are capable of transmitting organisms that can cause diseases in both humans and animals. The risk that we incur at the spread of the vector-borne diseases is considerable. It impacts our tourism industry, job productivity and absenteeism, and most importantly, it impacts our health system. The department envisions this venture to be undertaken collectively as a community, as it is the most practicable way to combat the control of vectors. The Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is a regional entity dedicated to the protection of the region's terrestrial and marine environment. Mr. Nipani Batista is the CEO of the CBF.
Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is a regional endowment that is working currently with 10 countries in the Caribbean. We are an institution that is dedicated to conservation of our terrestrial and marine environment in the region. We currently work with Bahamas, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, and Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The initiative of the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is linked to the Caribbean Challenge Initiative. The Caribbean Challenge Initiative brings together 10 countries in the region that have voluntarily committed to the effective protection of 20% of their near-shore marine ecosystems. And the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, together with other funds that are being established at the national level, are the financial mechanisms or the institutions that are going to be helping the countries attract the financial resources so that they can achieve that 20% target for effective protection of the marine environment.
Further afield, the United States government, responding to an extraordinary wave of Haitian migrants seeking to enter the United States, said today that it would fully resume deportations of undocumented Haitian immigrants. After an earthquake devastated parts of Haiti in 2010, the United States suspended deportations, saying that sending Haitians back to the country at a time of great instability would put their lives at risk. But a year later, officials partly resumed deportations, focusing on people convicted of serious crimes or those considered a threat to national security. But since last spring, thousands of Haitian migrants who had moved to Brazil in search of work have been streaming north, mostly by land, winding up at American border crossings that lead to Southern California. Few have arrived with American visas, but nearly all have been allowed to enter the United States because immigration officials were prohibited under the modified deportation policy from using the so-called fast-track removal process often employed at the border for new, undocumented arrivals. Instead, the migrants were placed in a slower deportation process and released with an appointment to appear in immigration court at a later date, officials said. Since early summer, most have been given permission to remain in the country for as long as 3 years under a humanitarian parole provision, immigrant advocates said. With the full resumption of deportations in effect, Haitians who arrive at the border without visas will be put into expedited removal proceedings. Now for the weather report. Present weather at Turanora, partly cloudy. At George Charles, partly cloudy. Total rainfall for the month thus far, Turanora, 72.3 millimeters. At George Charles, 141.6 millimeters. Sunrise tomorrow, 5:56 a.m. Forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from the southeast at about 12 miles or 19 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter at times. Weather, generally fair skies, becoming cloudy at times with some light to moderate showers. There is also a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms tonight. Seas slight to moderate with waves 3 to 5 feet or 0.9 to 1.5 meters. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles. Fair skies becoming cloudy at times with widely scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Tropical weather outlook. Moisture and instability in the lower atmosphere over the eastern Caribbean region may result in some showers and possibly thunderstorms over the islands during the next 24 hours. At 11 a.m. today, the center of Tropical Storm Lisa was located near latitude 20.0 north, longitude 34.0 west. Lisa is moving toward the northwest near 7 miles or 11 kilometers per hour. Tropical Storm Lisa is expected to remain over the open Atlantic Ocean and does not pose a threat to the eastern Caribbean islands. Finally, unbelievable, but true. We now invite you to have a look at this insane swing. the chances that some people take. Here is where we come to the end of this edition of TCT's Daily Major, but before we go, another look at the headlines. A press conference on a joint CDB-ECCB report on St. Lucia was held this Thursday. Dion Rikai is the 2016 St. Lucia Spice Scholar. Government House is to be fitted with a solar photovoltaic system, and the U.S. has resumed deportation of undocumented Haitian immigrants. TCT's Daily Major was brought to you by Double A's Bottling Company, Farron's Food Products, Ramco Chowming, and the One Caribbean newspaper. As usual, on behalf of the entire news team, I am Brian Dabrio. Thanks for viewing.